Welcome back to Tour Jam, the channel that sheds light on some lesser-known places in the UK, often for less favorable reasons. Today, we embark on a journey to the Isle of Wight, a destination suggested by our viewers. Uncertain of what to expect, as it doesn't usually feature in the summer holiday discussions, we were assured by many that there are indeed some less-than-ideal spots on the island. Determined to explore and experience them firsthand, we set out on our adventure. Remember, the purpose of this series is to identify the least desirable place in each county, not to label them as war zones. With that said, let's delve into our exploration of the Isle of Wight. The Isle of Wight, situated south of Hampshire and below Portsmouth and Southampton, covers an area of 147 square miles, making it the largest island in England. Surprisingly, it is also the third smallest county in England, with a population of only 140,000 residents. If you plan to bring your car, be prepared for the hefty return ferry fee of £100. Once a popular tourist destination during the Victorian era, it has lost some of its allure over the years, especially considering the cost of the ferry, which could now get you a flight abroad. Nevertheless, we explored every corner of the island, including the villages. With only 9 towns and no cities, we found that there were only 6 places that fit our criteria for unfortunate destinations. Before we proceed, we kindly request you to like, share, and comment on this video, as it enables us to continue producing such content. Don't forget to subscribe to support unfortunate destinations. Now, let's dive into the 6 least desirable places on the Isle of Wight. Number 6. Ventnor. Located in the south, Ventnor is the southernmost place on our list. With a population of 5,500, it was often mentioned by locals as one of the least desirable spots on the island. However, upon exploring Ventnor, we found that it wasn't as bad as expected. While it certainly has room for improvement, the town does possess certain appealing aspects. Unfortunately, Ventnor has garnered a somewhat rough reputation among the locals and has experienced a decline in population, with around 800 fewer residents since the 2001 census. This decline may be attributed to an influx of second-home buyers. Considering its distance from the ferry, Ventnor doesn't offer much in terms of amenities. The town is perched on steep cliffs, which are prone to landslips. Despite the average house price of £278,000, one must also contend with the possibility of waking up to a cliffside covered in bird droppings. However, there are signs of improvement, with derelict buildings being renovated and a general upgrade taking place. Notably, the Winter Gardens building remains an eyesore, but with the right development, it could contribute positively to Ventnor's overall appeal. All things considered, while Ventnor may currently hold the title of an unfortunate destination, it has the potential to become a more desirable place to live and visit in the future. Number 5. Ryde. Located on the north coast, Ryde is the second most populated town on the Isle of Wight, with a population of 24,000. Prior to our visit, we had heard some negative feedback about Ryde. As we explored the outskirts, it became apparent that they were somewhat shabby, with grimy terraced houses lining the streets covered in dirt, dust, and seagull droppings. The condition of the roads throughout the island left much to be desired, but Ryde seemed to have the worst of them. However, despite these drawbacks, Ryde does have some redeeming qualities. Its high street, while not outstanding, is still pleasant enough, and the occupancy rate of shops is relatively high. As you make your way down towards the sea, the area improves. The Esplanade, which serves as the main tourist spot in Ryde, offers a picturesque view and a range of activities. The hotels and guest houses appear well maintained, adding to the overall appeal. Another noteworthy feature is Ryde's Pier, where the mainline train runs, an uncommon occurrence in the UK. Additionally, a brand new bus station is set to open soon, indicating ongoing investments in the town. While Ryde may not surpass some of the other places we've visited, it still holds its own, albeit with higher crime rates, a housing shortage, and an overall shabby feel away from the center. Number 4. Shanklin. Situated on the east coast, Shanklin is a seaside town with a population of 9,100. Interestingly, Despite its name, knife attacks are not a common occurrence here. Prior to our visit, we had heard negative remarks about Shanklin, but we found it to be a more promising place than anticipated. It may not have a strong tourist vibe or a particularly cozy atmosphere, but efforts have been made to revitalize the town. Previously in a state of decline, Shanklin has undergone significant renovations, converting derelict buildings into usable spaces. However, it still lacks a distinct identity or major attractions. The High Street in particular leaves much to be desired, and the buildings could benefit from a fresh coat of paint and some personality. Unfortunately, we couldn't explore a large derelict building on the promenade due to issues with the sea lift. Despite its shortcomings, Shanklin has an average crime rate of 89 per thousand, shared with 2 other connected places. The average house price of £269,000 is relatively reasonable, and its railway station, serving as the terminus of an 8-mile journey from Ryde, adds convenience. Overall, Shanklin is a place that has made efforts to improve, albeit with a touch of melancholy still lingering. Number 3. Carisbrook. Positioned to the north of Ventnor, amidst rolling hills, Carisbrook is a village with a population of 1,709. You may not have heard of Carisbrook, and it doesn't necessarily evoke positive associations. Driving through, I felt an overwhelming sense of sadness emanating from the crumbling houses. Carisbrook appears rather purposeless, a place that was once tied to the railway but lost its significance when the railway ceased operations. While I initially suspected it to be a former mining community, which could explain its desolation, it turns out that the state of the village is more a result of neglect and a lack of investment. The number of derelict buildings is surprisingly high for a village of this size, contributing to its overall gloom. While some residents have not given up and continue to make the best of the situation, their efforts are often overshadowed by the dilapidated properties and lack of upkeep. Carisbrook's population has shrunk by around 180 people since the 2001 census, indicating the impact of its depressive environment. The peculiar behavior of some locals, combined with the lack of vibrancy and character, further accentuates Carisbrook's unwelcoming ambiance. Despite its proximity to Shanklin and Ventnor, Carisbrook remains isolated in terms of its atmosphere. The village, although not too far from civilization, struggles to escape the aura of desolation. Number 2. Newport. As the main town and capital of the Isle of Wight, Newport is situated centrally on the island, with a population of 25,400. Unlike the previous Newport we featured in Wales, this one won't claim the top spot on our list. Newport may not be a tourist hotspot, and our expectations for the town's appearance were modest, considering its limited influx of tourism. However, upon exploring Newport, we found it to be relatively decent in terms of looks, though somewhat bland. The bustling shopping area boasted full occupancy, and there were fewer derelict buildings compared to other places. Nevertheless, Newport's placement on this list is not primarily based on its appearance. It has the highest crime rate on the island, with 118 incidents per thousand. Tourists have no compelling reason to visit Newport, but sadly, it is where some of the island's poverty is most evident. Particularly, the areas of Pan and Barton are among the most deprived on the Isle of Wight, with 1 in 5 children living in poverty. Despite the relatively affordable average house price of £236,000, Newport remains a challenging place to live, with pressing social issues and a general sense of dreariness. The roads in Newport are not the most pleasant either, resembling the likes of Swindon or Milton Keynes with their numerous junctions and roundabouts. The town's pursuit of city status seems futile, as Newport would benefit more from a complete overhaul. Overall, Newport is a place one can tolerate, but certainly not a place one desires to live in. Sandown is the biggest disappointment on the Isle of Wight. Located on the east coast, north of Shanklin, it has a population of 11,600. As I walked through the streets of Sandown, an overwhelming feeling of sadness enveloped me. Despite its potential as a beautiful seaside town, the reality is far from ideal. Boarded-up hotels are a common sight, and the overall state of the town is disheartening. It's difficult to fathom what led to the decline of this once promising place. One hotel I encountered had smashed lamps and plastic chairs stacked up in the windows, a stark reminder of the neglect it has suffered. The locals seem embarrassed by the state of their town, as evidenced by a letter addressed to the town council, pleading for improvements.